Hey, Shalom Akim. Giving all praises to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect. That's what these lessons are for. All right, brothers, we're here in a site called France 24. And it's an article issued on August 30th, 2021, titled Desert. Drying Euphrates threatens disaster in Syria. And this is, a part of the prophecy. All right. Now I'm going to read, a few, these paragraphs. And I'm going to go into a few scriptures, and Lord will it be edifying. All right. It says Syria's longest river used to flow by his olive grove. Now, Syria's longest river is the Euphrates River, okay? It says, but today, Khalid al-Kahamis says it has receded into the distance. It says, parching his trees and leaving his family with hardly a drop to drink, okay? It's as if we were in the desert, and this is his quote. Said the 50-year-old farmer, standing on what last year was the Euphrates riverbed. Another quote, we're thinking of leaving because there's no water left to drink or irrigate the trees. And it said he has olive groves, all right, when you go back up here. So he has, his business there. Guess what? That's drying up. The Euphrates River is drying up. It says, aid groups and engineers are warning of a looming humanitarian disaster in northeast Syria, where waning river flow is compounding woes after a decade of war. What's the word woe? It means destruction. Okay? Which is spiritual, because the scriptures speak about the first, behold, the first woe, is come, and two more woes, cometh hereafter. When you believe the book of Revelation, the 9th chapter, it describes, the world war, the first world war, 1914 and 1918. And of course you had the second world war, 1939 to 1945, which that ended in atomic, warfare, where America dropped those bombs, on Hiroshima, Nagasaki, the Japanese cities, and there were other cities as well. Even when those Japanese people, they were waving the white flag. All right, which that was a part of prophecy. The scriptures speak about this man causing fire to come down from heaven in the sight of men. All right. And when you check it out, in combat, any conflict, there has never been, a nation that has dropped, atomic bombs on another nation, saving America, which makes all the sense in the world, because the so-called white man, who America is his infrastructure, his blessing was the sword. So he uses the sword. Scriptures say he beareth not the sword in vain. These devils don't play with that sword. They use it. That was their blessing. All right. So let's read probably another paragraph or two. It says, they say plummeting water levels at hydroelectric dams since January are threatening water and power cutoffs for up to 5 million Syrians. It says, in the middle of a coronavirus pandemic, economic crisis, as drought grips the Mediterranean region, which the word Mediterranean means Middle Earth. All right. Medi really means middle, and terrain is where you get the word earth from, You see what I'm saying? Or terrain is another word for earth. All right. It says, So that's talking about over there in the Middle East. So it says as drought grips the the Mediterranean region, many in the Kurdish held area are accusing neighbor and arch foe Turkey of weaponizing water by uh, tightening the tap upstream through a Turkish source. Salaki, though a Turkish source denied this. Now, Turkey, is another major player in this end game, we have here. And I say end game because, wars is pretty much like chess, man. Now, in chess, you have what's known as an end game, all right? You have different players, and some players, their end game is strong. Hey, but the thing is, the Heavenly Father is the one that's controlling, both sides. All right, so what I'll do, Lord will, I'll post this article in the description box, and you brothers could go ahead and go through it. The Spirit jumps on you. From here, I'm going to read, a scripture here. This is Revelation, the 9th chapter. And when you read, the whole chapter pretty much is describing World War One. Going into World War One. We've been through that, plenty of times. And then you read down here, it goes into the other prophecy, the nuclear missiles, so on and so forth. So let me read. This is what I was quoting earlier, Revelation 9 and 12. One woe is past. That's World War One. Okay, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter. Now, the earth has already lived through World War II, so there's not a question if there will be a World War III. The thing is when, and we living in that time now. We getting ready to experience World War III on this earth in our lifetime. Okay, and it will be fought with nuclear missiles. All right. Reading on, it says, and the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar. Now, this is in the heavens. It says, which is before the Most High, saying to the sixth angel which had the trumpet, loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. Okay, so that region, the Euphrates is, a part of prophecy, man. All right, and the Euphrates actually compasses, a lot of different lands, which I'm gonna get to that in a moment. It reads, and the angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year, for to slay the third part of men, which that's the time we come into, man. We come into the time of the great destruction. And the third part of man is really talking about Esau, You see what I'm saying? Because in the scriptures, we know it's three classifications of men. You have the sons of the power, the sons of God, which are the Israelites. All right. You have the sons of men, which are the other nations, and you have the sons of the wicked, which is the so-called white race, man. Now, in this war, there are going to be many nations destroyed, but Esau's great destruction is coming, in which America will be destroyed. But there's going to be a lot of destruction going on the earth at this particular time, okay? Now, going back to the Euphrates, there is going to be a land battle, okay? From here, let me see. So this is the Euphrates, and as you can see, from this illustration here, the Euphrates, is a vast, river. You see what I'm saying? Now, when you go down here to basin area or country, it says Turkey, It says Iraq, Syria. Now the basin area says Turkey, Syria, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Iran. Now Saudi Arabia is the place where this world war is going to be fought, man. Okay? You see what I'm saying? And during this, great war, this Third World War, the Lord will make his second appearance, man. All right? The Lord will return to visit the world which he made. Okay? And those of you who can't see that, the Lord is ultimately going to destroy you. All right? Now, from here, let's go to the book of Joel. Okay? Because this is the time we're living in, man. I'm not going to read the whole chapter, but, and you brothers, you ones of you that are in the know, you know what's going on. Let me scroll down here. Bear with me for one moment. Let's start up here. Let me see. Let me type this in. Salakia. My memory, fails me at times. There we go. It's third chapter. Okay. Salakia. There we go. So this is Joel 3, and I'll start at 11. Joel 2 is going into the nuclear, missiles. And now we in Joel 3 and 11. It reads, "Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about." And this is for the purpose of World War III. It reads, "Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord." Right, because the angels are going to come down. In the midst of this world war, the angels, Yahushua and the angels, will crash the party, so to speak. It reads, "Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat." Now, this valley of Jehoshaphat is talking about Saudi Arabia, okay? Now, the word Jehoshaphat in the Hebrew, it's Yehoshaphat, meaning what? The Most High's decision, the Most High's judgment. It reads, "For there will I sit to judge all the nations round about. Put in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe." Right, you'd see like images of the Grim Reaper with a sickle. That's really Yahushua, man. All right, coming back to slaughter. All right, it says, "Come, get you down, for the press is full, the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great." Now here's the kicker. Multitudes in the valley of decision, for the Lord, Salakia, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. That valley of decision is talking about Saudi Arabia, and that's why the Euphrates River is being dried up. The Euphrates is being dried up. I just went into the article. You have this guy, his olive groves business is not flourishing anymore. Because why? Because the water is receding. Okay? You see what I'm saying? The reason for that is because there's a battle that will be fought on that land. Okay? You see what I'm saying? Okay, so from here, I'm gonna leave off here, and I'm gonna go here to 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter. And I'm gonna read down. I'm not gonna read the whole chapter due to the interest of time, but I'm gonna read down some. This is 2nd Ezra 13 and 1. It reads, and it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night. And this is the prophet Ezra. And lo, there arose a wind from the sea that moved all the waves thereof. That's right. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. This is what the scriptures were describing, and this is what I was making plain unto those who are watching this video, man. The Lord and the angels, all right, you see what I'm saying, are going to make that great return during the midst of World War III. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. That's right. Who's that man? Yahushua, the one whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, who is the so-called black man. Okay? And the thousands of heaven is talking about the angels, who are also so-called black men. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. That's right. Because you're going to have men and women gathered over there in the Middle East to fight World War III. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire. Right. And that's how the Lord is also going to judge, by the way of concentrated fire from the vehicles that the angels travel in, which are so-called UFOs, man. Which, by the way, after camp yesterday, I was riding with the brother Shaman, the priest Shaman. The brother was dropping me, to my crib, and I looked up, and as we were driving, we saw a chariot. You see what I'm saying? Which was all spiritual, man. All right. It says, and whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire. And after this I beheld, and lo, they were gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the earth. That's right. From the four winds of the earth, meaning what? From north, south, east, and west, there was a multitude of men gathered together for World War III. It reads, to subdue the man that came out of the sea. But I beheld, and lo, he had graven himself a great mountain, and flew up upon it. That great mountain that is talking about a so-called UFO. Okay? It reads, but I would have seen the region or place where out the hill was graven, and I could not. So as Ezra was looking at the earth in the day of this great judgment, and he was looking at the different mountains and whatnot, there wasn't any mountain that was cut up out of the earth. In other words, the UFO that the Lord came back on is going to be so gigantic. Ezra described it as a mountain. All right? You see what I'm saying? It says, and after this I beheld, and lo, they were gathered together to subdue him, were so afraid, and yet dressed fight. Right, so they're going to be fighting one another. The U.S. troops against the Russian troops, against China, against, Ethiopia and Libya, it tells you, and the different nations are going to be fighting one against another. And guess what? They're going to leave off fighting one another, and they're going to start shooting their guns and their fighter jets and whatnot, their rockets. They're going to aim that at the Lord and the angels. All right? It says, that's why it says here, and after this I beheld, and lo, they were gathered together to subdue him, which were so afraid, and yet dressed fight. Right, because the Spirit of the Lord is going to, the Most High is going to put a spirit on you, you men, to fight against the Lord. All right? And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. Well, this is really talking about the so-called UFOs. They're going to be shooting laser beams down at the troops that are gathered together to fight, and they're going to burn them up. Hey, so some of you soldiers, you want to go to the army, so on and so forth. When that time come, you're going to be faced with a great and dreadful judgment, man. You're going to get burned up by not the nuclear missiles, but by chariot fire, scorching hot laser beams are going to destroy them. And it tells you right here, all they were all mixed together. And they were all mixed together. The blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up, every one. All right? Remind me of that movie, The Professional. All right? When Stan told him to bring him everyone, he said, everyone! It says, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude, nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. Hey, so the prophets saw some certain visions, that made them afraid because of the devastation that they saw. And we've saw certain things, that have made us afraid, because the Lord communicates to a man through, dreams, visions, so on and so forth, man. All right? Scriptures tell you if there should be a prophet among you, I, the Lord, will speak to him in a dream or in a vision. All right? Anyhow, man, I got to get ready to go down to the plantation. Lord will, this lesson was edifying, giving all praises to Yahweh, Bashim Shai. Lord will, I'll be back with another one. Shalom.